2 takes to tango. 3 takes will make a waltz. The schmaltz. You're starting to slip, my friend. It's Friday night at a club called Revolver. Bartender, 4 on the rocks for our friends. The Crews, Blues Brothers, Bruce Smothers, no nonsense. Chalice goblins, I'll stand on tables and make fools of myself. The fuck is this guy on? And the band played on. Lectures bring something out of me. These rendezvous in the midst of a hazy evening, in crowded solitude, eroding the chance to blind myself. The coked up Isaac, swaddled nicely in a blanket of bourbon and college hormones, feet on a loop and bare bones. The dilution into bloodstreams, the trials and tribulations, the hospital visits, defibrillations, the rehab, the skin sags, the brown scabs, the salvia, little white tabs, the shoot-ups in the evening, the sounds of dependency progressing. Symphony number 7, second movement, the eerie score of deafness. Look yourself in the eye, the withered sack eyes of a husk, a shell without a tether to the random nights and days, jobs, phone calls, dates, wives, good nights. It's all for the birds. So let them eat cake, as I spend my pastry cash on the finer things, the cheap $2 wines, the spliffs, the caps, white line sniffs, and leave to me these scrunched out chambers, so that I may spool out my life twine in peace and disharmony. Yes, I am the savant of self-destruction, Jericho with legs, and it takes exactly 12 shots, 3 beers, blow and a half gram, smoke and a series of 9 blunts, and a handful of pills from the satchel of the Rainbow Man before these fabled walls come a-tumbling down to dusty desert ground. So accept my nonchalant high fives and thumbs up while I stumble fuck my way back to the restroom to rehearse tonight's lines. Shame to the understudy who just quit last week, leaving the bare spotlight on me. Indeed, this wingman has flown this Icarus for better suns. Woe is me. So come on, you and me, let's spiral, a downward winding motion, so thoroughly condemned through history, as sin, as frivolity, a waste of the precious gift of life and wine, and all the rest. A shitty pop refrain, simple circles and circles and circles and circles, that's a round. It's discord and harmony, perfect displacement. I already said it's 2 takes to tango, but it takes a lot more than that to get me drunk, so pay up. This old crow and Pepsi isn't drinking itself, the clear liquor, the dark liquor, opposites attract. It's all about the fundamentals, the drunken, sunken-eyed, shrunken-wide protector. That's me, colored and swaddled in great grays and tremor blue and neuroses. That's 2 to tango, 4 to day glow, 6 whiskey cokes, and a whole sorority of vodka apples.
Party's over. Yes, thank you, Fairy and company, for making that official. For now comes the hour when those who did not come into the world with a bloodstream ready to dirty and muddy retreat to the mental hostels of slumber. But we, those designed to push debauchery into the next light, we can continue our work. When midnight appears at the stoop, the great Asheville Bohemia takes a step back, allowing the less than savory to have 15 or so in the spotlight, emerging with their ears too in tune to a pocket full of vices. The sweet haze of canonized jazz charts, of long-smoked pot leaves, and little plastic bullets of snowflakes. And when the vapors clear, the vespers leer. There in the horizon of morning, the high begets a dull migraine and a need for the bloodiest of Marys out prowling, a dead sexual quota that cannot last through breakfast. Oh goddamn you, morning cigarette, reverberating around those abdominal walls, the shrunken muscle graced only by the nutrition of liquor and smoke. The haunt continues, reaching the stasis of no days, no nights, just drink, puffs, snorts, and gum rubs. The children of the night, what music they make, the mucus they create, what vices they intake. And then a little jam. adorable Juliet. I will call you up and climb that mountain to find the peak of a perfect metaphor. Corny, cheesy, really, really dated. Such is the way poetry and love bear in burden in unison. So singular, so universal, so niche, so mainstream, all the buzzwords. Such is the way poetry and drugs bear in beast and burden, all these things and more in perpetuity. Down with the get down. Who is speaking? What have you learned? Why so confrontational? Why so meta? That shit died with Foster Wallace and no one has seen pension in a decade. Such a shame. With the thesis behind, this becomes a denouement, a postmodern post-climax. The ramble, the on and on, narcissistic written diction complex. The flex. Now, finally with the lingering fumes of the high in the rear view, on to part 2. The fine wine-aged literature, the meat of the thing with the rub. Forget not these intoxicating heights and never-ending bacchanals. But yes, onwards and forwards into that great tragedy in hand. The left, keep your eyes to the right, for it brings the sleight hand. Once more to delve to poet tread, indulgence read familiar ground. An unfamiliar cliche to write in verse cannot be found. Tragedy, comedy, fear, increasingly nervous sound. Every night a session chance to whip, to be bound. But the thing is supposed to be fun. The ending of this will not be, but rest assured, you will receive your reserve's apathetic heartbreak. Don't you know you're the best I've seen? It remains intact. The impact engages only in fact, and I hope you're keeping track. But pay attention, cause I'll only write it once. She thinks of me often, I've been told as much. I've heard it through the grapevine. It's been tossed down the drug dealer clothesline, the cocaine-freed headline. So take it from me, from your old pal. There's never been a man smarter or richer than the man who thinks he's traded the fix, which is fickle, into full streams of love, much more than a trickle, and it's poetry's oldest muse. It's what Keats, Yeats, Billy Shakes, the Poes, Plaths, Willie Blakes, drunken wrote to in order to battle off the shakes. And I'm rambling, but that's the tangent in ink, the ship about to sink, and it's the poet in the throes of a mental brink, the fear of what comes next, the complex disregard. This whole thing was probably just fueled by sex. This was a suggestion from your therapist, so blame them. Anyways, there was a sense of danger in the air on the left mezzanine, Zippo lighter, conversation. And what is the difference between a bad dream and a good nightmare? The biting of a canker sore. And yet the angst of all those emo bands could not even extend to the edge of my cigarette. Who the fuck smokes cigarettes anymore, right? A prom date once told her beau that self-deprecation was the key to all humor and hearts. And that stuck with me, because I too take too big a whiff at the gas stations. And yeah, I like to bite certain canker sores. I texted exes in the wee small hours of the morning, and it stunk. So lo and behold, I wrote a poem. Deciding to eat chicken salad in a bag from a week ago, because that's just the kind of team player I am. But hey, at least I'm not dramatic. And when it's 4 a.m. and I have to work the next day and the bars are 24 from their 10, what level is there to stoop to beyond resin hits and that sweet haze of the dead time? Water is out of the question, and don't ask me again. Jesus God, what a waste it's all been. We're all broke, addicted to some casually hard vice, likely to, and I'm running out of ideas. But I'm too young to shit out now. Then again, I'm American-made. These models are only directly for the floor, and they aren't built to last. I know that. You know that. So we accept it, only in the form of Visa or whiskey. Cheers. Don't forget to pour out ones for my ego. The sack I made sad. Masquerading as clever verse. It is not meta, it is smoke and it is mirrors. Two figures on a horizon, one to the east, one to the west. fifth degree. 'Tis madness, though it is not. It's the purest reason for rhyme, and sleep well amongst the wolves. A page turn brings you to new source of lullabies and fevered dreams. Whiskey sour after whiskey sour, and your fake black hair, it's fitting with the 90s hip-hops, and the running shorts, and the vague costume, fueled by softcore internet rendezvous, and your teenage residue. But then again you claim it is inspired by David Lynch, and I'll take your word for it, but the surreal just doesn't do it for me. And that being said, this Man Ray costume says otherwise, merely a joke and a spooky toast to the ghoulish fools, the foolish ghouls, and the hardy ones caught in banality in between. And Samantha, you find a booth near the no diving sign. That's a commodity on this most busy evening, so you sit and enjoy as I, Richard, but also not Richard for tonight, sit around in foolish attempt to bribe the glittered barmaid's peripheral, raising a 20 in my hand. My kingdom for a whiskey soda, a quip onto deaf ears. And you pick your violent femmes, and you follow it with Echo and Moz and all the savants of literate musical misery, the music of a unified library junkie. And unless we sing along and pound the first 3 rounds, the small talk will detour to the banal, the mundane oral oblivion we so casually avoid. Soon my bar tab will be higher than my minimum payment. My costume will be completely pointed at the crotch, and your words will be lost and slurred, the decadent stutter. And pieces of that 90s attire will be strewn about the apartment with vomit stains and condom wrappers filled with cigarette